Nebosh Unit IGC 1, Open Book Examination the 28th of October 2020. Scenario. You have a dual role as an experienced and respected process operator and a representative of workers at a large, high-hazard site, run by an international chemical manufacturing organization. The organization has a reputation for having a world-class health and safety culture, with many other industries using them as a benchmark. It is a legally compliant organization that sets clear objectives and checks that they are met. It employs and retains motivated workers who are aware of their clearly defined and documented responsibilities and want to continuously improve in their roles. Absence and sickness rates are low. The organization listens to workers when they raise concerns and responds professionally to external customer complaints. The organization also takes pride in recording low accident and incident rates and investigating any near misses to learn lessons and prevent more serious outcomes. Across the organization there are clear lines of internal and external communication. This allows effective resolution of complaints. The organization is fully insured even though the premium is high. The organization conducts frequent internal audits and is also externally audited. The process you operate is running at a reduced production rate, due to a technical problem with a large storage tank containing a highly toxic product. You have an idea what the problem is, but knowing the limits of your authority, you feel the issue should be escalated to someone more senior. Local site managers, engineers, supervisors and operators meet to discuss the situation. They conclude that the tank has an internal blockage that would normally require a complete process shutdown to clear. However, the planned maintenance shutdown is 12 months away. They decide to seek advice from the corporate management team to explore whether there is a different solution that would resolve the blockage problem, but keep production going. The local site and corporate management teams meet by video conference. The corporate management team includes a very experienced senior engineer with 25 years company service. This engineer has overseen process plant modifications at many international sites, with zero lost time incidents. They all agreed that modifications could safely be made to the tank, without the need to shut it down, and that the necessary resources would be made available for this work. The senior engineer is sent to the site to advise on, and manage, the changes that are needed to the tank, and on the day of arrival presents a solution to you. You are unfamiliar with the technology to be used for the modification and your reaction is one of disbelief, and you politely ask if the engineer is serious. The engineer invites you to a meeting to conduct a systematic and detailed risk assessment of the tank modification task. The health and safety advisor, worker representatives and plant manager will also be at the meeting. At the meeting, the engineer introduces the proposed tank modification and leads the risk assessment exercise. The risk assessment includes consideration of the highly toxic chemical, the release of which would be catastrophic for workers, as well as people in adjacent businesses, residential houses and schools. The engineer confirms that this proposed modification method is a safe and widely used solution where the safety improvements are worth the cost. The risk assessment then continues with discussion and agreement on risk evaluation, existing control measures and any additional control measures necessary. Some of these control measures include safe systems of work, a permit-to-work system, supplementary emergency arrangements and suitable induction training for all contractors. Collectively, these precautions and control measures reduce high risk to low risk. A summary of the risk assessment is circulated to all workers likely to be affected by the proposed modification. The full version of the risk assessment will be made available on request. Prior to commencing the work, a permit to work is issued to the contractors carrying out the tank modification. The permit to work includes an explanation about the associated risk assessment and how the plant has been safely prepared for this non-routine modification. The contract workers accept the permit to work with the necessary precautions, including wearing of specified personal protective equipment. Precautions listed on the permit to work are also communicated to all contractors and other plant workers who may be affected. The permit to work explains that precautions will be enforced, along with any other site rules, by active monitoring. This will be done while you carry out routine plant checks and simultaneously check on the progress of the modification. To confirm safe working and clarify overall expectations, you, along with an independent site contact, have been nominated to monitor and liaise with the contractors. The independent site contact will also actively monitor and check additional expectations, such as contractor site entry and exit control, resolution of any queries and the supervision standard. You and the independent site contact will check to see whether the modification work is being controlled and is progressing as planned. This is consistent with the organization's safe system of works based on the findings of the risk assessment and the method statement provided by the contractor, the aim being to complete the job safely without incident. Findings from inspections form part of the overall health and safety performance review. The performance review enables an overall assessment of opportunities for continuous improvement within the site and reveals any need for change. Task 1. Discussing moral reasons for managing health and safety. Question 1. Comment on the organization's health and safety morals. 10 marks. Question. Note, you should support your answer, where applicable, using relevant information from the scenario. Answer. The organization is already exhibiting high moral grounds as a prime motivator to health and safety as a benchmark. Moral reasons are based on the concept of an employer owing a duty of care to his employees, contractors, and member of public, schools, adjacent business, residential houses. It's a moral responsibility to provide safety in premises, plant, work equipment, highly toxic chemicals and safe working methods, safe access/egress, reporting and investigation of near-miss, instruction, training and supervisions per national legislation and international standards. It is not acceptable for an organization to put their employees in the conditions where their health and safety is at risk because they are coming to work to earn living. If it will not manage properly, it will not only affect the employee but also to their dependents. The availability of adequate and suitable control measures to reduce the risk to an acceptable level, as low as reasonably practicable, allow and make the working conditions feasible for work because millions of fatalities are occurring every year resulting from workplace incidents, ill health and unsafe conditions. As per ILO, 350,000 fatalities, 2.75 million die from occupational accidents and diseases, 2.4 million deaths of occupational diseases, 270 million occupational accidents, and 160 million occupational diseases recorded each year. It is the moral responsibility to provide safe working conditions. The rate of absenteeism, accident, incident and sickness is low and the complaints of workers are dealt in appropriate manner as the workers are considered as an asset and worker are having sound knowledge of their roles and responsibilities with mindset of continual improvement and enhanced motivation, as the reporting and investigating of near misses, accidents is appropriate. The organizations have a reputation for world-class safety culture and aware of their moral responsibilities. These things clearly show that organization is fully committed regarding moral reason and paying proper attention to their employees not only for the sake of legal or financial reasons. Task 2. Roles and responsibilities. Question 2. For a health and safety management system to work properly you need to have clear roles and responsibilities. Comment on the evidence from the scenario that would contribute to the effectiveness of the roles and responsibilities. 10 marks. Question. Answer. As per the scenario, the employees are aware of their roles and responsibilities and that indicates the health and safety management system and collectively they are responsible for achieving the challenges to set a benchmark for positive culture. The effectiveness of roles and responsibilities evidence from the scenario are Workers are well aware of their responsibilities and report any unpleasant event so that the things get documented. Effective and clear line of communication between different levels of employees generates positive culture. They are well aware of their responsibilities to investigate any near miss and accident to find out the lesson learned so to avoid the reoccurrence. Process modification. When the manager gets struck, he consult with the senior manager. He knows his responsibilities when to consult if you are not clear about anything. The employer has ensured organization well above the limit to have the legal compliance. It's responsibility of employers to provide safe means of access and egress to avoid unplanned events. Development of in-house competence of employees on process modification for better understanding. Active and reactive monitoring provide performance evaluation. Training of new job for process modification. The manager knows that they have to do the risk profiling and risk assessment before start of any process modification. They have to keep in mind that they have to develop permit to work risk assessment, method statement to execute the job safety. Emergency response system for the process of modification, so in case of any unpleasant event they can cope up the situation. To maintaining the safety of the contractors and all other people associated with them, including their employers, to get the job done safely. Responsibilities of the workers to work collectively to promote positive health and safety culture. They are having good strategic health and safety meetings to discuss the process modification. They know that it's their responsibility to consult with their employers on the matters regarding health and safety scenario. The technical staff, engineer, of organization having competency with having 25 years of international sites experience which contains 0 lost time incidents. Low absence and sickness rates due to compliance with national and international standards clearly indicates the management role in obedience with health and safety. Due to check and balance within organization, precautionary measures which includes personal protective equipment are followed by contractors. The organization having compliance to provide the personal protective equipment. Active monitoring that includes safety sampling, safety tours, checklists and inspections are carried out in company to ensure the safe system of work. Task 3. Influencing health and safety culture. Question 3. Based on the scenario only, what are the indicators of health and safety culture in the organization? 20 marks question. Answer. The following are some indicators from the scenario which elaborates the existence of positive health and safety culture in the organization. Benchmarking. The company has set high standards for health and safety as different industries are using their performances, culture as benchmark. Compliance with policy and procedures. The complaint policy of the organization is appropriate and fulfilling the expectations, demands of the workers and the external customers by responding them professionally. Satisfactory consultation. The concerns of the workers are properly handled by the organization by effective discussion and meetings on the matters of health and safety. With effective methods the concerns are resolved. Low accident incident rate. The organization also takes pride in recording low accidents and incident rates. Low LTI rate. The low number of accidents and incidents are reason for reduction in lost time injuries, reduction in losses to business, enhanced company's reputation, staff and client satisfaction. Low sickness and absenteeism rate. Sickness, staff turnover and absenteeism rates in the organization is low because of safe working conditions, environment and workplace. Compliance with procedures and SOPs. The compliance of the organization is of well established with appropriate monitoring and continual improvement. Balanced between safety and profitability. As per the given scenario, the company does not consider health and safety as an inefficient aspect, as they have set an appropriate aspect for the profitability and retaining their good HSE compliance. Number of health safety meetings. The organization arranges appropriate meetings regarding health and safety to deal with all the operations, troubleshooting, worker concerns, complaints, and to identify appropriate control measures and training needs of the employees. Suitable number and quality of risk assessment. The organization establishes suitable and sufficient risk assessment, highlighting the consequences and identifying the appropriate control measures to reduce the level of risk associated to the hazards. Number and quality of PTW system. The organization's exhibits active monitoring as the permit to work system is being implemented in the premises of the project as per standards and clear objectives, ensuring the controlling of risk. Minimum downtime. The organization minimum downtime to avoid the losses in production causing business disruption and plan to carry out the work while the tank in operating condition. Feedback loop. The organization exhibits the appropriate feedback loop as the concerns, issues of the workers are dealt properly with discussions and meetings. As in the given scenario, there is proper feedback and consultation regarding the maintenance work in tank. This also enhances staff motivation towards their job. Sufficient consultation. There is suitable consultation between the organization and the workers so that the worker needs are properly addressed to the top management, and this drives an incredible motivational force to the workers that is the outcome of the overall good performance by all the resources of the organization. Layers of protection analysis. The effectiveness of the necessary emergency preparedness and arrangements, suitable trainings for all the contractors, inline permit to work, control measures and precautions reduces the higher level risk to a lower risk. No enforcement actions and fines. Good legal compliance is being observed and there has been no record of any enforcement action or fines in the organization, so it is having good reputation. No complaints. There were no complaints by the workers, contractors and customers, which shows their satisfaction and appropriate implementation of health and safety management system. Number of investigations. All the incidents, even the near misses, were being investigated to prevent their reoccurrence to avoid serious consequences, i.e. damage to property and injury. Low staff turnover rate in the organization. Low staff turnover due to good behavior of all the management and magnificent satisfaction of the workers with their organization. Successful audits. The monitoring and reviewing of health and safety management system is adequate as internal and external audits, and it elaborates presence of positive health and safety culture and to ensure that the organization is on target. Task 4. Why lessons should be learnt from incidents. Question 4. Other than general improvement of health and safety, what specific reasons are there for this organization to learn lessons from incidents? 10 marks question. Answer. Lesson learned is a proactive approach for this organization for gathering and integrating evidence from similar incidents to avoid recurrence. Organization is planning for non-routine process modification of internally blocked large storage tank having toxic product, and most of team member, except senior manager, are not familiar with the modification process. Lesson learned can be used as reflecting learning to make sure all employees understood the process and what is required of them. The organization should focus on lessons learned from similar process modification incident occur globally in live plant to analyze factual information of worst case scenario and chalk out a contingency plan for mitigating the risk to identify the immediate and root causes of similar process incident. Lesson learned can be used to identify hazard, risk profiling, risk assessment, and to decide either the existing controls are well enough or we must give additional control measures as per the principle of as low as reasonably practicable, ALAP, and implementation of layers of protection analysis, LOPA. It can be used by an organization to study fault tree analysis, FTA, and hazard operability, HAZOP. It can be used for gap analysis for discovering the trends and patterns and to prioritize the suitable control measures. With our existing procedure, method statement, SOPs and arrangement so to rectify and take corrective and preventive actions, CAPA. It can be used to update procedures, technology, method statements, risk assessments and SOPs to make the process safe. To make effective HAZCOM for dissemination of lessons learnt. It will increase staff morale by raising safety awareness and will create positive culture. Emergency Response Plan, ERP, should be in place and trainings should be providing keeping in view the lesson learned. Thus, it can also be utilized to adopt changing environment and the efficient optimization and to create awareness and to enhance the competency of employee. Task 5, Risk Assessment. Question 5. The risk assessment for the proposed storage tank modification has been completed. Based on the scenario only, comment on whether the risk assessment is suitable and sufficient in the following areas. A. Who might be affected? Marks question. Answer. Based on the given scenario, the risk assessment is sufficient and suitable for the people who might get affected. The risk assessment is highlighting the identified hazards and their suitable control measures. Because in the risk assessment all the people working for the modification and nearby premises of the workplace. The who might be affected category is considered in adequate manner in the risk. It is considered the workers of contractor, plant operator, senior technical staff, engineer, present at site to monitor the modification activity. The worker related to other contractor. People from nearby residential areas. Staff and students of schools situated near the plant site. Client representative at site to monitor compliance. The people associated to the adjacent business get affected of toxic atmosphere. Question. B. The precautions are reasonable, and the remaining risk is low. 6. Marks question. Answer. As per the given scenario, the risk assessment is sufficient and suitable because it is covering all the control measures proportionate to the risk level given in the scenarios, including safe system of work method statement, permit to work system, inspections, trainings, specified personal protective equipments, competent contactors, entrance and exit routes, a contact person for the contractor monitoring, emergency procedures. As per HSG 65, there are 3 stages of controlling to make it as far as is reasonable reasonably, which are also covered in the given scenario of the risk assessment. First stage, input control. Include physical resources, such as tank modification, hiring of human resources such as selection of competent contractor and information including standards technical and management information. Second stage, control of work activities. To minimize risk of tank modification process by keeping in view premises, plant, substances, procedure and peoples including separate entrance and exits, work procedure, competency of job. Third stage, control of output. By minimizing the risk from tank modification maintenance process and by providing information to all the personnel who might be affected by the work activities. Task 6, Permit to Work System. Question. 6. The organization has an effective Permit to Work (PTW) system. Why should a PTW be used to help manage this storage tank modification? 10. Marks question. Note, you should support your answer, where applicable, using relevant information from the scenario. Answer. The permit to work system should be used for tank modification because it is a part of safe system of work and it formulates safety procedure by highlighting the specific hazards and control measures with specially recommended personal protective equipments and emergency procedures. Permit to work describes scope of work as modification of tank in this scenario and sensitivity of the site by highlighting specific plant location, equipment and zones. It also identifies specific hazard associated with the tank modification, toxic chemicals, fire and explosion etc., and will also specify control measures precisely proportionate to the risk level. As mentioned in the scenario, highly toxic material is present in the storage tank. It is also mentioned that organization workers, adjacent business workers, residential house and school people all can be harmed due to that toxic chemical. So permit should be necessary for this activity so that all the above-mentioned people can be kept safe. It will also specify the different parties involved in the permit to work system, that is issuing authority, client organization, area authority, operator, and job performing authority, contractor, cancellation and extension authority. It will also specify the limitations of each party involved in the permit to work and for how much time the permit is being issued. The permit to work is based on risk assessment, method statement, procedures and SOPs. Permit to work also recommends fire prevention and emergency response plan in case of any unpleasant event. Permit to work is an authorized mean of communication between the working parties, organization and contractor, to execute the work safely, keeping in view the standards and legislations. It can be an effective document to ensure that the activities in the premises of the location must not conflict. Task 7. Managing contractors. Question 7. The contractors, who specialize in the tank modification method, are ready to start work having been issued with a permit to work. Based on the scenario only, discuss how effectively the contractors will be managed by the organization during the modification. 10 marks question. Answer. As per the given scenario, the organization has to effectively manage the contractor who has been issued with a valid permit to work and ready to start the work. The client will manage them by providing explanation about suitable sufficient associated risk assessment and the relevant control measures and recommended personal protective equipments. Requirement to the permit to work is disseminated: toolbox talk, standout session, awareness session, safety talk, to the contractor and other crew members so that they can completely understand that what is required from them. The organization must enforce the contractor to follow the site rules by physical inspection, checklist, and safety tour, and by other active monitoring methods. Multiple routine and simultaneous inspections will be carried out. Overall expectations and safe working is communicated and confirmed to liaison monitor with the contractor. The organization has to ensure the safe execution of the modification work which has to be done by contractor. For the better coordination, the organization has nominated me with another independent site contact person to liaise and monitors the contractor activities. Independent site contact will ensure additional checks of contractors' site access and egress and will resolve their valid queries and will also have effective level of supervision. The organization nominated personnel will ensure that execution of agreed method statement for the modification work and that should be consistent with the safe system of work and in line with risk assessment and method of executing work by the contractor. The sole purpose of coordination, monitor and manage the task to execute the job safely without any unpleasant event. Task 8, Health and Safety Performance Management Review. Question 8. The organization's world-class reputation is partly due to carrying out an annual health and safety performance review. What types of information should this review consider? 20 marks question. Note: you should support your answer, where applicable, using relevant information from the scenario. Answer: previous accident and incident records should be checked to ensure that all the control measures are effective and fully implemented. These records also give the information about the culture of organization, as in the scenario organization culture can be assessed from the number of accident and incidents happening in the organization. Training records must be reviewed to check the performance of an organization. as maximum number of training given to the workers enhance their competency and show the management commitment towards health and safety. Absence and sickness record also tell about the performance and the presence of safe system of work in the organization. As mentioned in the scenario that absence and sickness rate is low, so it shows that organization performance and their strategies regarding workers' health is good and effective. Implementation of communication system in the organization also tells about the performance, as in the scenario that workers easily report any findings at workplace, which shows a good performance. Insurance premiums of the organization also shows the amount of financial loss to the organization. Scenario insurance premium was observed high, which shows that company facing the highly financial loss due to incidents or other law breaching. Incident reporting and investigation record also gives a reflection of organization's performance. According to the scenario, investigation process is effective in the organization, so it shows that performance regarding incident investigation is good and effective. Previous audit recommendations also give awareness about the management system effectiveness, which is directly related to the performance. I observed in the scenario that organization was conducting internal and external audit. These audit recommendations will show the health and safety performance of mentioned organization. Implementation of permit to work system will also shows the organization's performance. As organization is not allowing the work without permit to work implementation, which shows that current organization strategies are good for the better performance. Enforcement action records also reflects the performance of organization, which shows that industry or organization is fulfilling the legal requirements or not. In the scenario, organization have good performance of management by implementing all legal requirements effectively. Active monitoring data like safety inspections, surveys and tours data also give awareness about the performance. As mentioned in scenario, active monitoring is doing effectively in the organization to check the performance. Achievements of specific objectives set by the organization shows that performance is good or not. Scenario tells that organization has set its targets and benchmark to achieve the goals, which will show the performance after a specific period. Complaints record from workers and external sources like customers also tells that organization is achieving its targets or not. Implementation of new standards and technologies also shows the good performance by management. As mentioned in the scenario, that organization is going to design a storage tank according to the new standards, which indicates that this organization's management performance is good. Performance of management can also be checked by risk assessment records. Maximum risk assessment shows the good management performance. In the scenario, risk assessment going to be done for the workplace, which shows effective commitment and good performance of management. LTI records also shows the management performance towards health and safety. Safety committee meeting minutes give information about management performance. Health surveillance records also helpful to check the performance of organization management. Fatality records happening in the organization also indicates that performance is good or not. Record of reporting the hazard by the workers and implementation of its control measures also reflects the management performance. End of examination. Now follow the instructions on submitting your answers.
Please give comment and suggestions.
Thank you.
Subscribe our YouTube channel and hit the bell icon for more updates. Thank for visit our channel. See you next class.
Thank you.